It can happen in a blink. One moment, life feels predictable, even safe. The next, everything you counted on is gone. One day, you're worrying about your fantasy football team, and the next, you're figuring out where you and your kids will sleep. The shift is so sudden, it hardly feels real. For many in Philadelphia, this isn't fiction, it's reality. It's a daily struggle that thousands quietly endure. Meet James, a steady warehouse worker, a dad, a coach. He's the kind of neighbor you'd want, always lending a hand. Then his company downsizes. The job that paid for everything is gone. Suddenly, the foundation beneath his family crumbles. He's hopeful at first, but weeks turn into months. Savings vanish. The job search grows more desperate. The landlord's patience runs out. Late notices pile up. The pressure mounts with every unopened envelope. He sells the TV, his guitar, memories, not just things. The eviction notice arrives, final and cold. His daughter draws their family in front of their house, not knowing it's slipping away. She still believes in home. How do you explain to a child that her home is gone? You can't. You just pack what you can and leave, holding back tears. This isn't about failure or laziness. It's about the floor dropping out from under hard-working people who did everything right. It's a story playing out all over Philadelphia, a city where too many are left out in the cold, invisible to most. The quiet prelude to life on the streets, in shelters, or in a daily fight for dignity and hope. James's story is heartbreakingly common. It's the starting point for understanding the crisis gripping this city and the people behind the statistics. We have to look at this, because it could be any of us. No one is immune. This is where the story begins. And it's a story we can't afford to ignore. If you think James's story is rare, listen to this in 2024. Homelessness in Philadelphia jumped 38%. That's nearly 5 out of 200 people, men, women, and children, without a stable home on any given night. The trend is accelerating, and our city's systems can't keep up. These aren't just numbers. They're the people you pass every day. Families in subway stations, youth aging out of foster care. More people are sleeping in parks, under bridges, in abandoned buildings. Kids are trying to do homework in crowded shelters, if they can even get a spot. This isn't just a homeless problem, it's a public health, economic, and moral crisis. The numbers are screaming for attention. The gap between the haves and have-nots is now a chasm. For too many Philadelphians, a safe home is out of reach. Why is this happening? Why does it feel like every year the cost of simply having a place to live keeps climbing, while paychecks barely move? It's simple. Rent is too high, and pay is too low. The gap between what people earn and what they're expected to pay for housing just keeps getting wider. Over half of Philly renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing, one emergency away from disaster. That means a single missed paycheck, a medical bill, or a car repair can push families to the brink. Since 2000, home values have more than doubled, but incomes have barely budged. The cost of living keeps rising, but wages are stuck in the past. The average studio rents for $1,386 a month. Even the most basic apartments are out of reach for many working people. If you rely on disability income, you're already $400 short before food or transit. For seniors and people with disabilities, the math is even more impossible. People are working multiple jobs, picking up extra shifts, and still the math just doesn't work. No one should have to sacrifice sleep or health just to keep a roof overhead. This isn't about laziness, it's a systemic failure. The rules are rigged, and the system is leaving too many behind. Redfin ranked Philly as one of the least affordable metro areas for renters in 2024. The problem is bigger than any one person or family. When the people who keep the city running, bus drivers, nurses, teachers, can't afford to live here, something is broken. Our essential workers deserve better. We can't just blame the market. This is a crisis created by policy and priorities. It's a result of choices made by those in power. The affordability crisis is fueling homelessness. More and more people are being pushed onto the streets every year. It's not about individual choices. It's about a system that's left too many behind. No one chooses to struggle like this. We need to recognize this for what it is, a citywide emergency. The stakes are too high to ignore. The time for action is now. Together, we can demand change and fight for a city where everyone can afford a safe place to call home. You see cranes everywhere, so why isn't it helping? The city skyline is dotted with new construction, but the benefits seem out of reach for most Philadelphians. In 2024, Philly added 8,000 new housing units. On paper, that sounds like progress, a sign that the city is growing and investing in its future. But most are luxury apartments, not homes regular people can afford. These new buildings cater to a wealthier crowd, leaving working families behind. Developers rush to cash in on tax breaks, building for profit, not for need. The focus is on maximizing returns, not solving the housing crisis. The result? Shiny buildings with empty units, while thousands sleep outside. The gap between what's being built and what's actually needed keeps growing. Landlords offer free rent to fill luxury apartments, but affordable housing goals are missed by miles. Incentives can't fix a system that's not designed for everyone. The city aimed to create 250 units for the homeless last year. Only 14 were built. That's a fraction of what's needed to make a real difference. This year, just 5 so far. The pace is painfully slow, and the need is urgent. We're building, but not for those who need it most. The people struggling the hardest are left waiting, or worse, left out entirely. Even city stats can be misleading, lumping home repairs with new affordable units. The numbers don't always tell the real story. The disconnect is clear. Development is pushing out the people who make the city run. Longtime residents are being priced out of their own neighborhoods. A city isn't its buildings, it's its people. Without them, the city loses its soul and its sense of community. Right now, we're building a city with no room for many of them. The most vulnerable are being left behind, with nowhere to go. We need to ask, who are we building for? The answer matters, because it will shape the future of Philadelphia for generations to come. If you can't afford rent and there's no affordable housing, shelters should be the safety net. But Philly's net is full of holes. There are about 3,000 shelter beds for over 5,000 people experiencing homelessness. Many more need help throughout the year. For every person who finds a bed, another is turned away. Imagine finally asking for help, only to hear, "Sorry, we're full. Try again tomorrow." Shelters are stretched thin. Programs, funding, and staff are all at the breaking point. The city's housing budget was slashed nearly in half this year. We're asking a broken system to solve a growing crisis. For too many, the bridge to stability leads nowhere. When crisis hits, you expect bold action from leaders. Mayor Parker's HOME initiative promises 30,000 housing units. On paper, it sounds huge, but the details matter. The numbers include market-rate apartments and simple home repairs, inflating progress. The real need is for deeply affordable housing and shelter beds. The city aimed for 250 new units for the homeless each year. In the first half of 2024, only 5 were built. At this pace, it would take decades to house everyone in need. The gap between promises and reality breeds cynicism and despair. People hear about big plans and big budgets, but see little change in their lives. Advocates are calling for a total rethink, focus on affordable housing, expand shelter capacity, and provide real support services. Slogans aren't enough. The current approach isn't reaching those who need it most. We need action, not just announcements. The city's future depends on it. We can't talk about homelessness in Philly without talking about race. Black Philadelphians are 44% of the population, but 66% of those experiencing homelessness. This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of generations of inequality. The loss of stable jobs, redlining, and over-policing have all contributed to this crisis. Black families are more likely to rent, less likely to have generational wealth, and more vulnerable to economic shocks. The homeless crisis is a visible legacy of racial injustice. Solutions must be targeted. Invest in Black neighborhoods, fight discrimination, reform the justice system. To achieve true brotherly love, Philly must confront this uncomfortable truth. Behind every statistic is a story of resilience, like Nadia writes. At 29, she lost her job and became homeless, but she didn't give up. Nadia completed an 8-month training program while homeless, earning her CPR certification. She's determined, skilled, and ready to work, but still can't find stable housing or employment. Her story shows the system's cruel paradox. You can do everything right and still be trapped. No address means fewer job opportunities. The cost of getting to interviews is a barrier. Survival is exhausting. Nadia's strength is inspiring, but it's also a call to action. We should be removing barriers, not adding them. People like Nadia deserve more than admiration. They deserve real opportunity. Her fight is a reminder. The system must change. We've seen heartbreak, numbers, failures, and resilience. It's overwhelming. But don't turn away. Apathy is the ally of injustice. These stories matter. The path forward starts with kindness. See the person, not the problem. Small acts, hello, a smile, a bottle of water, restore dignity. But kindness isn't enough. Demand real solutions from leaders. Invest in affordable housing, fund shelters, support frontline organizations. Hold officials accountable. Don't be fooled by inflated stats. Use your voice, call your council member, get involved. This story isn't over. Change is possible. It starts with awareness, grows with compassion, and succeeds through collective action. Subscribe for more stories that open eyes and hearts. In a city as great as Philadelphia, everyone deserves a place to call home.